So everyone breathes, right? Simple, effortless. Well, until it isn't anymore. And that is true for 30 million patients in the world each year who suffer from severe lung complications. They literally lose the ability to breathe on their own, which means they need to be put on mechanical ventilation. If you look at the US, Europe, and Japan, we have 3 million patients each year, out of which more than 2/3 either die or are chronically impaired afterwards. And it's not only a lethal complication or lethal complications, but it's also very expensive because mechanical ventilation is the single most expensive measure you can do in critical care. This amounts to almost $50 billion in healthcare costs every year. So what is so special or problematic about mechanical ventilation? A physician or therapist needs to delicately balance oxygenation versus overinflation, because overinflation damages the lung. Now, the problem is that it's completely unclear what that balance is for the individual patient. And that leads to even the best doctors doing trial and error on the patient, increasing injury of the lung, prolonging time on ventilator, and increasing mortality and long-term impairment. Now, key opinion leaders do know what would help them, which is the capability of setting up the ventilator with, based on patient-specific mechanical lung properties. That's what they ask for, and that's what Ebenbuild gives them through a digital twin technology that we've developed over the past 2 decades. For the first time, you can link mechanical properties of the lung to what you set up on the ventilator, and to make the ventilation for the individual patient the most protective. And most importantly, no lung is created equal. So there's a lot of benefit in personalizing this kind of treatment, and there's a lot of potential in it. This is why we've created Aerogram, which will be an AI-enabled medical software service. Software only, it will run on existing hardware in the ICU. And it will also fit in well with the current clinical routine. So you set up initial empirically motivated settings. At some point, there's an imaging event and a diagnosis of the complication. And then you go on and start the trial and error process, 3.5 hours per day and patient. That's a lot. So, and if things go well, you can wean the patient off the ventilator and in the end, extubate them. And where we actually piggyback on that process is with the imaging. When the imaging is done, the clinicians can order an aerogram, and then our AI algorithms generate a physiological functional twin of the lung. And we use that lung to sample thousands, tens of thousands of different scenarios of ventilation settings in order to create personalized ventilation maps. And using these personalized maps, a clinician can very easily and intuitively navigate to the best settings for the particular patient. And this is fundamentally how it works. Now you see that map there. It's generated from thousands of different sample points. And for the first time, you might understand that for this patient, the current settings are not optimal. And the thing you want to do is you move up here, which means reducing ventilation frequency and reducing the driving pressure a little. And that overall leads to a reduced overall mechanical strain to the lung at a very early point in time. And it's very precisely tailored to the patient's needs, meaning that you are able to readjust the ventilator less often, you save time. The lung will recover faster, and thereby you will be able to wean the patient earlier and extubate earlier. And that is really important because early on, this is outcome critical. So if you look at the statistics, currently trial and error dominates with mortalities of up to 58%. While it is known and has been shown by expert centers that even if you go at it with an estimated rough lung mechanics understanding, you can reduce ventilation time by 2 days, and the mortality if you apply these kind of settings on day 1. Now, with Aerogram, we take it one step further. We now take it from the qualitative into the quantitative regime. We want to reduce ventilation time reliably, building up on the same mechanisms, protect the lungs starting from day 1 when the imaging is done, and ensure high ventilation quality at any place where Aerogram is going to be employed. So patients get treated better because physicians treat more effectively and efficiently, and that leads to providers saving at least $15,000 per patient. And the good thing is that reimbursement amount stays the same, right? So income side is the same, you can optimize cost. And for the value that is generated through the use of Aerogram, we want to charge a fraction of that value, which will be $1,800 per patient on average, with a $16,000 per year fixed service fee. And because we know the incidences of the lung complications, take into account the pricing that I just said, this is a $6.5 billion opportunity in our first markets. We want to clear the product first in the US and then work with top-tier clinics to build more clinical evidence through commercial clinical studies, which makes us able to address large healthcare providers, and then move our way towards becoming included in the clinical guidelines. If you look at the revenue forecasts, assuming that we can integrate Aerogram in roughly 900 clinics, these are the revenue numbers that you can realize based on the pricing that I've talked about. So far, we've raised $7 million in dilutive and non-dilutive funding, and we've de-risked the technology. We've shown in clinical studies that is highly accurate, over 90% accuracy as compared to imaging techniques that are available. We have our own quality management system certified, our meetings with FDA, and we're soon to receive clinical data from Japan that will let us run a dry run of the accuracy trial that we are planning, thereby de-risking this. We have KOL support all over the globe, which is shown by the ongoing clinical studies we have with them. Our patent portfolio is growing, and we use the pre-clearance version to actually work in contracts and partnerships with Medtech and biotech companies to show through tech validation projects that our health intelligence is actually worth a lot. So looking forward, we are raising a $50 million Series A to commercially release Aerogram to run the accuracy trial in the US and Europe, get FDA cleared through the de novo pathway, and at the same time kind of prepare our sales operation. We have built this technology, which is considered the global benchmark for digital lung twins over the past 2 decades, starting at TU Munich and now in Ebenbuild. And we are backed by some of the most prolific personalities in the field. Charlie Taylor Hartful, founder of Hartful, is our chairman of the board. And we are backed and supported and partnering with basically the who is who of international critical care. So they believe, as we do, that this is just the beginning because our platform technology is very versatile. Starting with the acute complications, we can then look towards the management and screening of chronic respiratory diseases like COPD, the broad variety of rare diseases in the lung, and thereby increase the opportunity in manifold. I mentioned that everyone needs to breathe, just like the twins of my co-founder Jonas. They were born prematurely and put on a mechanical ventilator, and they were very lucky to be close to an expert center. So we aspire that whenever Ebenbuild is used, any center that uses it can become an expert center in respiratory diseases. Thank you.